before we get into today's video, I just want to say, I did a thing where I just I edited and published a video of me building like a 40 card birthday deck of Strixhaven cards that my wife gave me, and you can see on the channel. And I called out Tep to give a comment, and Tep, you commented, and you right away had some thoughts. And I was like, I agree with all of these. Tell me what they are one more time. I will put this in the preview of the next video I'll make about this.
Yeah, so I'm Tep, and well, Chunky did a video without me and surprised me by uploading it in our regularly in our on our regular video days. And he called me out in the video that I didn't know that he was doing it, so he wanted to hear what I had to say, since it was essentially a sealed pool that he opened. I'm assuming from a bundle that he received for his birthday. Yeah, so he built an Izzet with an Izzet deck with a splash. And I think for me, I would have actually taken more low cost cards from other colors where I had more density of them. And of course, CB not knowing all the keyword mechanics that already exist in Magic, which is a long list. He mistook how ward works. So ward is a keyword that it's the keyword itself does nothing. It needs to have a value. So ward one, meaning one colorless, means that an opponent has attacks on his targeted abilities and spells. If they do not pay the tax of one in my example, then the spell or ability gets countered, meaning it doesn't resolve. CB was interpreting it as it has ward and therefore it is protected against blocks and attacks. So I can see the interpretation, but yes, most definitely your interpretation was wrong based on game mechanics. So
Yeah, it was so wrong.
it would have been fine to attack with, but it's also a good blocker and whatever you said in that video. The other thing that I didn't put in my comments is that you designed one of your creatures to block without using its prepared spell that
Oh,
drew
like
you
what was that?
cards. You played two of your blue creatures, and then assumed that you were going to block with one of them, and you essentially blocked with it without ever using the ability, the prepared ability, which was to draw two cards.
The landscape
So
artist. I remember that. Yeah, I played the
yeah, you played
landscape
two of them,
artist, and
and
the
you
idea
you
was,
never you never you never played the prepared spells that you had on board on none of your creatures. And
yeah,
that most definitely that's one of the selling points of Strixhaven Sealed is that you have these mechanical extras, right? That you have extra
mm,
spells that you can use an instant and sorcery. And it is worth remembering. That's why many people use dice or a piece of paper to put on your creature while it is prepared as an extra. Well, you need to show that it is prepared in some way. So a die
right.
or a piece of paper or a counter beneath or above it just to see that, and just so you have a visual cue that it's still available. And that would have given you card advantage. And I thought while I was watching your fictitious gameplay that that was what you were going to do, but you didn't. So that's just a comment on keeping track of what you have on board and the reason you put it in the deck.
Yeah, gotcha. No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm going to switch to gallery view here so we can see both of us. I'm still experimenting with the camera views here, everyone, so bear with me, guys. Yeah, I liked all of that feedback. It's so funny, like you can love something and really suck at it still. Like I definitely feel like I have lots to learn. And one thing I like to do when I actually go to a pre-release, I'm not sure what you would call what I did here because it's technically like a pre-release way. It's sealed, but it's not a draft, so it's just building from six packs. I'm not sure what you would call that. But one thing I regularly like to do when I go to pre-release events is like in the moment while I'm there, I'm making my deck, and then typically when I get back home, I've had like a day or two, depending on how many I go to. I've had a day or two where now I know the cards a little better. I know what's played against me, and then oftentimes what I like to do is actually take just all the cards I didn't use for my deck and build a second one out of that just for fun, you know? So, but yeah, I have lots of stuff to do. And certainly you're right. That's a good point. We should talk about that some more sometime. That having stuff on board, like dice or like one of those little cutouts that say the spell is prepared, is good to remind yourself. I've actually played against someone during my last pre-release. No, that's not true. During my Strixhaven pre-release, I played against someone and they had a card in there called Hop to It, which is from Bloomborough. And Hop to It creates three white rabbits, three white 1/1 rabbits. And the I kept on forgetting because this person simply put like magic cards in reverse. There was no proper token for it because it's from Bloomborough. They didn't have any rabbits in that deck. So they kept on having something out which I didn't identify as, oh, these are three rabbits. And so from that Strixhaven pre-release, I realized, oh, next time I do a pre-release, I have to advocate for myself. So when I went to the Marvel pre-release, um, I had a couple of times I was playing against someone where they were representing something in a way that wasn't obvious to me. And I made sure to tell them, okay, hang on, let me understand. This is supposed to represent that. And they're like, yes. And I'm like, okay, I'm never going to remember that. Can we do this instead? And they're like, sure. So that's, I think it's an important like etiquette thing. Like no one will know if that doesn't make sense to you. Yeah. So anyway, I'm going all over the place, but I thought it was a really good point that you said to have things represented. And I agree with you. I looked over this video now three more times as I was editing it. And I was like, ooh, I should have done that. Ooh, I should have done that. And I actually even realized, oh yeah, that's right. Ward is nothing with regular blocking. So, but I loved it. I mean, I loved doing it, and that was really great. And so I appreciate what you're saying. And I thought I might do a one do over sometime if I splashed green and put some other creatures in there. That could be interesting. But you know what? Here's the thing. I actually was going to ask you, put those on tape. Put your thoughts on this on tape because when you first mentioned to me that this video was up, you gave a couple of feedbacks regarding how I actually cut the video.
Um,
And I thought those are very good, and I definitely want to do those. Yeah, sorry everyone. I actually didn't crack all the packs on camera, and I didn't put them out as it were. I actually really wanted to do that, but the thing is when my wife gave me the cards, we were out at a cafe with a friend, and it was sort of like one of those situations, go open your gift, go open your gift. And so I actually had these all opened up beforehand, and I didn't want to like, show a bunch of packs that were already opened. But for the next time I will do that. I will go through and show each pack quickly, and then we can have like a time lapse or something like that. So for anybody who's missing that, tear me to shreds in the comments, but it will be something that I want to do for the next one. So we all love the crack, don't we?
yeah. So, but otherwise, I think you did well. I mean, you looked up a formula on how to build a sealed deck. Um, that is a very general rule to do because you have to take into account the different mechanics that come up per set, right? Like right now, so we're coming off of Secrets of Strixhaven, which had not only the big mechanical thing, which is the prepared spells, right?
Hmm.
Essentially, a wizard's spell book that he has the spells prepared, and then he needs a long rest before he can do it again from D&D, right?
Yeah.
That is that, but then it has the school mechanics as well, like opus and repartee and these things, which is a different type of deck that you're going to build then, right? Depending on the density and effectiveness of the mechanics that you opened, right? So
Right.
it's something to take into account. So you cannot, if you're going into Witherbloom, which is very much, in this case, a life gain, life loss, creatures, create creatures, sacrifice those creatures, well, or yeah, I mean, give them up, not necessarily sacrifice effects, but yeah, you want them to die, you want them to attack. So if you open Witherbloom, then also the splashable colors become different, right? They're made up of black and green, and black overlaps with white, and green overlaps with blue. So you can sort of like get sort of like sidetracked into these different mechanics, but it's something to be aware of. That's why so many people are aware of spoiler season 4 set to at least get a notion, not of all the cards that are there, but what are the mechanics of the set? Especially
Right.
if you like pre-releases and seals and drafts and all these things, then you have to be aware of what is in the set that I'm doing the sealed thing with. What am I drafting? What am I drafting into? Or what are the potential things? What are the cornerstones? Many times, Wizards of the Coast puts in like a cornerstone uncommon, right? That is
Yeah.
in a certain color, and it's a signpost, is what they call it, I believe, right?
Yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah.
signpost uncommon or a signpost rare, which like if you open this, then you can build around it, right?
Yeah.
Many sets that have like strong mechanics in itself will have those. And being aware of like, oh, I opened this, so now do I have enough to support it? Or did I open two of them? Which one can I build into? Um, I'm not a big pre-release person anymore. They're not very common in my area. Usually on days and dates when I have other commitments, so I can't go. Also, it's a little bit more of a sweaty environment in the sense that people are very competitive about it, and participation pool is rather low, and price pool is, well, usually always by the same 4 or 5 people because they're either very good or just very sweaty about it, right?
Yeah. So
Um,
that's a good point you're making. And for anyone who's watching this, and as a reminder, right? So Tep and I, we live in geographically very different locations. Tep is in Central America, Guatemala, Central America, and I'm here in North Carolina of the United States. It's a different situation, and people live differently, it's different economics, all that kind of stuff. When I go to a pre-release here for all of our viewers who are in the US, it's very casual, very nice. Like you just go to a store and you pay your participation. Everybody just has a good time with it, and that's a different experience for Tap, at least at the moment in Central America, in Guatemala, in his particular location. And so, we can talk about that some more sometime, but just as a quick reminder there. So, but just to say, as to your point, yeah, absolutely. I love the format of this. I love the idea of this. And I think I'm gonna get better at constructed in the end. But yeah, I understand the point you're saying, that there are like signposts that you can build around, and also that there are signature like new mechanics that one should look into. And I definitely see myself doing this more this time. And so on that note, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna make a little video out of this. I'm gonna post it in the comments for the previous videos. Anybody wants to see it can see it, and that'll be the other one for this week. I'll do that. But with that in mind, I realized I was just so psyched when I opened one of the packs and it had a Prismari in it, like the actual Elder Dragon, which was nice. And I think it puts me at three of the dragons I have at this point. I have a Quandrix, a
Great
Lorville.
pull.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a great
that
pull,
was.
right?
I saw you pull it out, and I'm like, okay, of course, you're going to have better luck at bundles than me. Even though I'm a rather lucky person opening bundles or just random packs, so you're
Uh-huh.
luckier than me. So, but I was a little as you're even a mythic sometimes in the bundles is not always easy to find. And then yeah,
Yeah.
I think you did well there. And I must say, like over the past year and a half, 2 years maybe, Izzet is a very strong color in
Yeah.
sealed because it has been very well supported since yeah, beginning of last year, really running up, and then Final Fantasy gave it a big boost. And then there's just so many things that gave the color combination in the standard format a lot of legs up. There's a lot of variety in it, but it's essentially um, just a very pushed mechanic right now.
Yeah.
So it's not super hard to build something that works I mean it's easy to draft into, I guess, but it's also a very popular thing. So if you're building draft, I'm rather certain that Izzet cards would be drafted heavily, and you would have to go into a different color. But that's a draft in environment.
Yeah.
Just I wanted to comment a little bit more on building your deck.
Uh-huh.
You had because I mentioned you pulled up you put on the display you put like so and so many creatures, so and so many non-creatures, and then so and so
Right.
many lands, which is a
Mm-hmm.
big formula. But you have to divide that again, right? At
Okay.
least in your head, especially the non-creature stuff. The big things you need to look out for is removal
Mm-hmm.
and then card draw in that order. And not just any removal. You don't want to put in a 5 mana black spell that exiles a creature. No. You want to put in a 1 mana that gives something a -2/-2 to kill the early threats,
Mm.
right? So the removal should be efficient removal if available. And for when I do pre-release, that is actually the color that I lean into. I don't look at the bombs first. I look at
Mm.
where's my removal, and then the bombs can be splashed.
Mm.
That is how I
That
do it.
makes sense.
It's not necessarily correct, right? But I mean, again, I'm in a sweaty pre-release environment, right? So people will be very aggressive and they want to close out the games quick. And the way they do that is that they try to pull in very efficient creatures. But efficient creatures are like they have higher power than toughness. They come in a turn or two earlier than you expect them. But then, okay, I'll give it -0, -2. It's dead
Yeah,
now. Right? So
cool.
it's sometimes enough to push them off their game.
Yeah,
So yeah, in sealed draft in sealed and draft, removal is a premium, right? And unless it's really something that is super into what you want to do, like you go in even without looking at your card pool. Today I'm going to be in my sealed pool. I'm going to force Witherbloom. I'm going to force Silver Quill, right? So it doesn't matter if it's good. I just want to do it, which is fine if you're in a more casual environment. But yeah, so I
yeah.
usually, when I build a pre-release deck, I go more for the removal. Secondary is card draw. So I fill out my non-creature stuff first. And sometimes it's more than I have creatures.
That is
And
a
if
really
my
good
bombs are
point.
in a different color, then I'll splash for the bombs.
That is a really good point. And I think, that is definitely a meaningful way to do it because chances are by the time you can play a bomb, you can splash because you're further in the game. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so just as a quick reminder for everyone, this is about the birthday kind of self pre-release that I built. I'm going to link this video in that original video. And speaking of Prismari, just quickly to say, yeah, so I was going to say, I got so excited to see this Prismari in there, so I wanted to focus on it. But I also realized that actually in the blue and red Prismari in this situation, I actually would have needed to build a deck that is far more instant and sorcery heavy because that's where Prismari really shines. So it's actually really cool to see a video afterwards and to end up. So that those are all good notes. And as Tep was saying, Prismari, the blue and red combination is really popular. It's got a lot of things coming out for it. If you haven't seen it yet, and maybe it's not even out yet because Tep and I were kind of doing interesting stuff with the content at the moment. We are actually today, after this, going to be recording our rubber match of our mirror match of Rutha mastering the moment. So Tep and I have been playing this for a while now. He's been playing Rutha and I've been playing Rutha from the Strixhaven set, the commander deck. His modified, mine not. And so I'll probably interlink this somewhere as well so you can see it. And as a point to content, you
Lightly
might have.
modified. I
Oh,
just changed 10 cards. I didn't fully
there
upgrade it. I just switched 10 cards that I didn't like, put in stuff that I did like. That's it.
you
It's
go.
not optimized or anything, but we are on to our, so we had our match. It was not satisfying for CB, so he challenged me to to a rematch of the mirror match, and then now we're split on wins.
Yes.
Spoilers. And now we have the rubber match of the mirror match, and
Yes.
we'll see where that goes.
So that's
Look
happening
forward to it.
today. That's happening today, and depending on when you're watching this, you may be able to see these videos interlinked. As a final note on this, you may have observed the way our content currently is that Tap and I have been recording our plays mostly for my benefit of rewatching them afterwards since I'm learning Magic over the past year. And we just crossed the threshold, very interesting, on July, what was it now? The last one was it July 2nd? I believe that's what it was. Yeah, on July 2nd, we published the video. On July 2nd, 2026, we published a video that we recorded on July 2nd, 2025. And then it was my birthday, and then I'm doing this. So we actually have some content that we're going into, and I'm editing all this old stuff. But now we're going to start splicing in some other stuff like this, which you'll see probably later this week. And then I'll link it to the my birthday deck build. So just want to thank everyone who's already subscribed and anybody who's participating. This is really such a source of joy and interest for us, and I hope you'll grow with us. And hey, Tep, thanks for taking the time of reviewing the deck, talking to me about it, and I look forward to seeing how this Rutha thing goes in a minute or two. So, any final words before we conclude this?
You're going down, I think.
Okay, well, we'll see. Tune in to find out, guys. Thanks, everybody.